Oof, 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 oof. I mean, oof. I mean, well, there's bad, and then there's terrible adaptations from a cartoon series. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another movie review vlog, and today I'm taking a look at The Last Airbender, and quite honestly, this has been the very first and last one in this entire live-action franchise. So in case you guys don't know what I'm talking about, this movie, The Last Airbender, is a live-action adaptation of the very first season of the popular Nickelodeon cartoon series, Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's pretty much what you expect. A lot of disappointments. Now, I didn't really originally watch this in theaters over 10 years ago when it first came out, but I've heard a lot of complaints and gripes from the diehard fanboys out there, and at first I thought it was just them just complaining and moaning and whining about the whole thing and how cartoons will never be as adaptable to the live action or and vice versa and blah blah blah. And but after watching this, whew, wow. I can see why now. I can definitely see why they have a lot to complain about, especially after someone like myself who just finished up binge watching the entire Avatar series. If you guys haven't checked it out already, I'll just leave a little link right here for season 1. I don't know where it goes on YouTube, probably up here. But yeah, so what do I have to say about this movie? Well, it's crap, to say the least. I guess what I have to say about this live action series is that there was a lot of terrible, I mean, I'm sure they had a lot of good intentions about this series, and of course they had some really good ideas, but at the same time there was a lot of you could tell there was a lot of terrible choices in the pre-production settings, from the terrible choice in casting, the really bad makeup work, to the special effects where sometimes it was good, but other times it just looked like green screen garbage, which looked way lower quality than the one I got right now. But yeah, it was directed and co-written by M. Night Shyamalan, and when I watched this movie, I can kind of tell this was definitely an M. Night Shyamalan movie, mostly because of the fact that there was a lot of extreme close-ups to regular close-ups with a lot of these characters when they do a lot of narration scenes and dialogue, and it just looked very uncomfortable at times. Not to mention a lot of the martial arts moves that the main characters use in order to airbend and waterbend kind of looked really slow with their choreography. I know it's a live action one and you're working with kids and preteens, but the fluid in the motion was just, from these main actors, was just absolutely very slow and slow paced, and it didn't gel well with the special effects that they had going on with this movie. The movie was only about an hour and 40 minutes at most, but at the same time, they tried to make everything go at a very fast pace with this movie, especially when you're trying to capture a lot of the good scenes from Avatar, the first season, when there was like 20 episodes to be crammed into an hour and 30-minute movie. And it definitely shows when it is absolutely rushed, when these characters have to go from point A to point B very fast in a short amount of time. Not to mention that a lot of their acting, and normally I don't want to say this about actors themselves, but their cues and their moments were really terrible at times, especially with their dialogue and how they deliver it. To the comedy and banter that they had was completely off course, if you ask me, because one of the gems about the Avatar cartoon series was also the side anime comedy that went along with it, but when they try to adapt that comedy to live action, it just didn't mix very well. And it was just very off-putting, to say the least. As I said before, the special effects looked like complete garbage. Other times it just looked like they went straight out of Adobe After Effects. And a lot of the main characters and their goals and aspirations just went a little too quickly for themselves. There was not enough time to flesh out any of these more lesser-known side characters and villains with their goals and agendas. Everything was just rush, rush, rush. I gotta capture the Avatar, and more things happen, and of course we lead up to the big finale with the Fire Nation taking on the Water Tribe, which I thought was a really downplayed, if you ask me, because especially when you slow down the scenes during the final battle of the last movie, it was really corny and really joking, especially with a lot of the fight choreography with a lot of the smaller side characters, which looked like they were just play dancing rather than actually fighting, with little to no dead bodies to go along with it. I know it's supposed to be a PG or PG-13 movie, but at least just have a couple of guys on the ground at least to make it look like they're unconscious or dead. And I think what was even more of a disappointment was that because the movie producers thought it was going to be a huge success, they even had an end credit scene which was a hint to have a sequel of some kind, which of course, thank goodness it never happened, because if they did make more sequels out of this franchise, I can guarantee you that these two actors would have the most awkward preteen romance in movie history. Other than that, I would have to say this movie is a huge letdown without a doubt, and I can see why a lot of people were complaining about this, especially after 10 years. I heard rumors here and there that there was a Netflix reboot series in the works, but then it was quickly debunked or dropped by the main people who were running it, so I don't know. I mean, the thing about a live action is that not all cartoons or comic book series can be faithfully adapted into a TV show, a live action TV show or a movie of some kind. There's just so many problems and complications with real world budget, props, and the actors themselves, which just seems like too much of a hassle. It seems like some things are just better off left on pen and paper and in animation, if you ask me. So overall, this movie was a bit of a huge letdown, of course, to Airbender fans, as well as people like myself who just got off of a binge run from something like this, only to watch something like that. So with that said, I would have to give this movie pretty much the lowest rating I could get. It was mostly a half star out of 5. No, maybe not a half star. I mean, I'm balancing somewhere between a half star and 1 star, and that's about it. The only real miracle about this movie was that even though it cost them hundreds of millions of dollars to make, they somehow actually made a huge budget off of this. Overseas, of course. So I guess that's a bit of a small W on their part, but they were also smart enough to not make any more sequels after that, because I cannot only imagine what characters like Toph would be like, or having the entire city of Ba Sing Se with cheap special effects, or something else along those lines. I just don't. It just doesn't seem unimaginable at this point. Maybe in an alternate reality, people thought this live action Avatar movie was so great that perhaps they made 3 or 4 more other sequels that people tend to watch in an alternate reality somewhere, which I would like to see. as messed up as that may be, I might be interested if they actually did make a movie like that. But it's not. It is what it is, and that's pretty much it. And of course, if you guys have any comments about the movie itself, feel free to let me know in the comment section below, which I read and sometimes reply to pretty much all the comments that you guys leave down there. If you guys would like to support me any way that you can, or you have any requests, feel free to hit me up on my Patreon, where I do take requests for any future movie reviews for the low price of $1 a month. And if you guys out there would like to follow me on other social media links, I do have Twitter as well as Twitch as well, where I occasionally edit my videos, play some video games where I fail horribly, or sometimes I would have a chill session painting my minis as well. So whatever I like to stream for the most part. And I think that's pretty much it. And with that said, thank you all for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all next time.